Hey everybody, Jeff here. It's been literally years since I made a video on this channel, and I feel like I need to get back into it and talk to you guys about some cool records. So the topic for today is going to be Philly Soul. Philly Soul is one of my favorite genres. You've got amazing studio musicians, great production, amazing vocal groups, but just beautiful songwriting. There's so much about this music that in my opinion is wonderful, and that's why it's one of my favorite genres. And I want to talk today about some of the most essential records that you need to hear. If you haven't heard these particular albums and you like the genre, or if you're curious about it, you're just getting into it, these are some albums that you got to get in your collection because they're just outstanding. I intend to turn this into a series at some point because I could talk about Philly Soul all day. I love this music. Like, I really, really love this music. And I intend to turn this into a series, dive into some more obscure stuff and all that kind of, that kind of thing. But for today, I just want to talk about some of the really big records in Philly Soul that you got to hear. So, where else to start than OJ's Backstabbers? This record is unbelievable. Everybody that's heard it knows that it's unbelievable. And usually this is what people will point to as the definitive Philly Soul record. And it's hard to argue with that. It's certainly up there. You've got, When the World is at Peace. That's a hard funk tune. You got Backstabbers, kind of laid back and jazzy. Love Train, that's almost like getting into disco territory in 1972. Not quite, but you're getting there. Sunshine is a great ballad. Who Am I is a great ballad. This album covers a lot of ground, and every step along the way is just outstanding. Tom Bell, Norman Harris, Ronnie Baker did some of the arrangements, produced by Gamble and Huff. You'll notice, the more you dive into this genre, you'll notice that there's certain names to look for. Like a Gamble and Huff production, that's a lot of the Philly International stuff, Gamble and Huff production. And some of the studio musicians too, like Earl Young on drums here. Now, I'm a drummer, so I'm gonna talk from that perspective. Earl Young is one of the best drummers that's ever lived, in my opinion. He knows how to play the song, and you can tell it's Earl Young. There's certain tendencies in his playing, like the fills that he'll use, something like that. It's like he knows how to make you move, and he knows how to not step on the other musicians, and he plays so cleanly, and it's got such good feel. Anyway, wonderful album, great harmonies, great songs, everything about it, awesome. If you don't know this record, get it. Another one, Lala Means I Love You, Delphonics. This is the first Delphonics record. This is on Philly Groove. So you'll see Philly Groove was one of the bigger labels. When you're looking into like the 60s stuff, you'll see a lot of Philly Groove. And same deal here. This is outstanding. You've got falsetto vocals in this one, as opposed to in the OJs you don't really get that. And this has more of a 60s vibe in general. And it's just awesome. Excuse me. On this record, it's a Tom Bell production. Just great songwriting, a little heavier on the ballad side of things. They do a wonderful version of Alfie, a Burt Bacharach tune. They do The Look of Love, another Burt Bacharach tune. This is just beautiful music. And I'm only showing this one because this is their first record, but really at least the next four are all really worth hearing, in my opinion, and especially this one and their self-titled one. This is wonderful, wonderful music. You know what? On the OJs, I forgot to tell this story. I actually saw Eddie Levert, this guy right here, in concert right before all the COVID lockdowns hit, and it was nuts. This dude's in his like upper 70s, as far as I'm aware, and he's moving around with more agility than a guy that's my age. And, you know, I mean, he's got the women dancing in the crowd and everything like that. I mean, it was just, he's still got it. His voice is still, it's awesome. So yeah, I mean, if concerts start happening again, gotta see these guys for sure. Next record I want to show here, Stylistics. Now this is another Tom Bell production. Now, fun fact, I ran into the lead singer of the Stylistics at a record store. And there was a guy wearing a Stylistics shirt, and I go up to him and I say, "Well, did you see them in concert or something?" He's like, "No, I'm in them." And it was Russell Tompkins Jr., lead singer for the Stylistics. And that was cool. I was a little starstruck. I just said, like, God bless you, man. I love your music, and keep on keeping on. This album in particular it's just flawless front to back. I mean, Stop, Look, Listen to Your Heart, You Are Everything, Betcha by Golly Wow. I mean, those are some of the best ballads ever written. And then you've got, like, You're a Big Girl Now here, which I believe, yeah. So again, Earl Young on the drums. Earl Young, I'm just saying, Earl Young's awesome. That's one of the, if I'm going to use the lingo, that is one of the fattest beats that you will ever hear. It's filthy. This whole album is nuts. So good. Highly recommended. Blue Magic. Let's see. Trying to see who did a lot of the arranging on this one. Well, any case, this is another just classic Philly soul record. You've got Sideshow is kind of the big tune that everybody knows. But like Welcome to the Club, that has moments of house music on it. And this came out in 74. Like, I mean, it's just insanely ahead of its time in many regards. And it's just extremely listenable. It's timeless music. Spell is one of the great ballads of all time, in my opinion. What's Come Over Me is an amazing ballad too. You really just, great album. The Iceman Cometh by Jerry Butler. Jerry Butler, like, he recorded with all kinds of people. I mean, I think he started having hits in like the late 50s. This came out, I don't think it says here. I want to say this came out in like 68, but in any case, this was one of the earlier Gamble and Huff productions, and certainly one of the earlier major productions with a big name singer. But Jerry Butler went down to Philly, recorded this, and this is one of the great soul albums of all time. It's a little bit more on like the pop soul end of things. It's a little bit, it's more compact songs. Like, think of some of the stuff that like Motown was doing, like the Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell records or something like that. Like, this is kind of in that sort of wheelhouse. But I mean, Hey Western Union, man, amazing song. Strange, I Still Love You, great ballad. I mean, just this whole album is freaking awesome. Highly recommended. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, I Miss You. This came out in 72, I think. Yeah, and actually this is a promo copy as well. So Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes are most well known to a lot of people because that's Teddy Pendergrass right there. he sang lead on a lot of their more successful records, and even the ones after Teddy Pendergrass left. I mean, Harold Melvin's an amazing singer, and those records are great too. But just Teddy Pendergrass, a lot of people know him, and I mean, this album's great. You can, I guess maybe you can tell by the title, I Miss You. This is a ballad album. This is like, if you're sad, you're going through a breakup or something like that, it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, If You Don't Know Me by Now, Be For Real, I Miss You. I mean, Yesterday I Had the... every song on this is great. You really just, you can't go wrong with this stuff. And then when Teddy Pendergrass went solo, you get this album, and this album's great. By now you're starting to get more into the late 70s. This came out in 77. So, it has a more, dare I say, contemporary sounding production. I mean, it's still late 70s, but yeah, it's a little bit more of a contemporary sounding production. You can tell that, disco had happened, and is, some of those sorts of tendencies start to creep in a little bit more. Awesome stuff. And again, I mean, disco came from Philly soul. But you've got great ballads on here. Somebody told me, it's a religious song. It's beautiful. Easy, Gotta Take It Easy. I mean, that song has a filthy groove in it. Just awesome stuff. Now, if we time travel backwards a little bit, this is one of the earlier Philly soul records. Cowboys to Girls, The Intruders. Awesome album. Again, kind of like the Jerry Butler, this is very much more on the pop soul 60s Motown influenced kind of things, but you can hear the sound of Philadelphia beginning to develop. Great version of By the Time I Get to Phoenix on here. It Must Be Love is just such a nice song. Cowboys to Girls, obviously. It's great stuff. Awesome harmonies. I mean, and this is a solid album front to back. A lot of soul records from the 60s, you'll find that like the singles are great and then there's some filler tracks and shit. Not on this one. This is awesome. Lou Rawls, All Things in Time. This has You'll Never Find Another Love Like Mine. And man, you talk about just a perfect pop song, a perfect single, a perfect disco tune. That's it right there. And, this album's a little bit more hit or miss all the way through, but I mean, still just, it's got so many amazing songs on it, and that You'll Never Find Another Love Like Mine in particular, where it's like, you got to talk about it. Lou Rawls is one of the all-time great singers. Just check this one out. Last but certainly not least, we have the Spinners. Now, this is a UK press, and for some reason on the UK press, it says the Detroit Spinners. The US press does not do that, but nevertheless, this is a Philly soul album. It's Tom Bell, I believe, did all the arrangements on this thing. Let me see. I don't know if it says on the back cover here. Yeah, produced, arranged, and conducted by Tom Bell. So same guy that you're going to see on Delphonics, Stylistics, all that kind of stuff. And this is great. Awesome album. You've got I'll Be Around, One of a Kind Love Affair, Could It Be I'm Falling in Love. Just great music. Really great music. And that concludes this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you don't know some of these albums, I hope you look into them. And I would love to hear what you think in the comments. So thank you for watching, and until next time.